Hi, everyone. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me. Welcome to
We can see you.
ParentGood. Hi, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to ParentGood. Thank you so much for joining me today for the session. I'm super excited to talk to you about home organizing. This is my passion. And today, because we're in a place for parents, we're going to focus on home organizing with kids. So let's start. So today we're going to focus on organizing your home with kids, or in other words, just as the title of the session says, how to keep your home tidy and organized and not losing your mind. Same thing. You can ask questions during the session in the chat, or you can wait until the end and see what I haven't talked about, and then I will leave plenty of time to ask questions. So organizing in general can be quite overwhelming, and it could be quite challenging, especially during the past year and a half, when suddenly home has taken a whole new meaning and everybody's at home, everybody's kind of focusing on what's going on in our house. Everything is in our face. And as a mother of three, I can totally feel you. So let me introduce myself. I'm Darina, and I'm a professional home organizer and an owner of Tidy Our Home. And during over 6 years of practice, I have witnessed how transforming your home physically, organizing it physically, can actually affect your and your family's life on much, much, much deeper levels and on so many aspects. And we'll talk about it during our session. It's actually scientifically proven that we are mirroring our surroundings. And what does that mean? Let's try a little exercise, okay? Try and think. I want you to be active, by the way, like write things in the chat, answer my questions, give me a thumbs up if you can relate. So really, it's a conversation. It's not a lecture. So try to think about your least favorite place or space in your house, at your home. It could be a junk drawer. It could be, I don't know, a kitchen, a garage, your bedroom, your nightstand, your closet, your entry closet, your kids' playroom, your kids' room, under the sink space, whatever space you can think of that you really don't like in your home, that you really don't like being there. So I see my kids' rooms, laundry room, closets. Oh, under my son's bed. That's harsh. My master bedroom, because I have two cribs, bathroom, balcony, a lot of places. Now, I want you to kind of focus for a second on those spaces in your mind and try to feel. How does those places make you feel? How do those places make you feel? Does it make you feel calm? Does it make you feel satisfied? Does it make you feel stressed or overwhelmed? Generally, when your space is cluttered and unorganized, you feel obviously more stressed, more tired, short-tempered. You snap more quickly and easily at everybody around. You feel unfocused, frustrated, and again, generally just overwhelmed. So this happens because our body is actually physically responds to clutter and to chaos and to spaces that are unorganized, because we thrive and we want to be out of chaos and in order. So what happens is our body responds by producing stress hormones, and those hormones causes really serious implications on our mental and on our physical health. So this is important. It's not just, the physical order or the visual order or our house not looking as the photos that we see on Pinterest or on Instagram. It actually has a more deep implications on our well-being. So with that said, how it implicates on our well-being, it affects our kids even more. It affects our kids more than it affects us, but the kids cannot really explain. They cannot say, I'm stressed, Mom, I'm stressed, Dad, I'm frustrated. I cannot focus on my studies, on my learning, on my school. I fight with my sister or with my brother because I'm just overwhelmed. They react. They do not explain, they react. So we have kids that feel lack of control. We have kids that might feel stressed. They feel anxiety. They sometimes feel even low self-esteem because they feel like, this is just too much for me and I cannot do anything with that. So I'm unable, I'm not capable. Clutter and disorganized places can even trigger behavioral, social, or learning challenges in kids. So we really need to pay attention and address those issues, again, on a more higher or deeper level. I'm gonna see if I have any questions that I can address right now. Do new babies feel that? Oh yeah, babies do feel this because again, babies that can they see the clutter, they see the chaos. Babies that cannot see yet, they feel their parents. So if we are stressed, they feel our stress also. So absolutely. How do we get our kids to do this without having arguments? Oh, I'm going to talk about it in just a bit. And toddlers, so toddlers, of course, yes. You can see more tantrums. You can see more aggressive reactions with toddlers if they live in an unorganized surrounding. So the good news are that by decluttering and by organizing our space and creating an organized space for our families, we can actually reverse and minimize and even just eliminate those negative factors that affect our health and well-being. And about kids, a lot of people, and tell me if you can relate, think that kids are messy. Give me a thumbs up if you think so. That kids do not like order, that kids do not care about their space or their surroundings. And actually, the truth is, this is not true. Oh, at least thumbs up. Thank you. So actually, the truth is that this is not true because kids need order. They need routine. They need structure. Kids thrive and perform better when their surroundings are not overwhelming, just like us, right? And as parents, our responsibility is not just to create organized spaces for them, but actually, most importantly, to teach them how to create those spaces for themselves by themselves. They just don't know how. I mean, we think that they don't care, they don't order, they don't like it, they are messy, because they just don't know how. Because we teach them how to eat, and we teach them how to brush their teeth, and we teach them how to dress themselves, and many other skills, but we do not really teach them how to organize. We tell them to organize. We command them to organize, but we do not really teach them the skill of organizing. And I'm going to talk about it in just a second. So the skill of organizing is actually a skill of organization. It will help them not just to organize their space and their belongings, it will actually give them a toolbox of skills, because it will also teach them how to manage their time and how to make decisions and how to take responsibility and how to feel capable and how to practice self-care, because organizing our space is self-care. right? It's taking care of our well-being and our actual mental and physical health. So those skills and this toolbox, they will actually use during their whole life. They will use it at school, they will use it in college, they will use it in their relationships, in their families, in their workplace, everywhere they go during all their life. So it's not just, putting things in place around the house. So practicing organizing as a family will actually significantly reduce the battles in your house. Battles with kids over tidying up, over buying new toys, sibling fights, and it will allow the kids to have more calm and meaningful play. It will increase their creativity, because when we have too much clutter around us and too much triggers around us, we cannot think clearly. We cannot create. The parts of our brain that are in charge of creativity, they just shut down when there is overstimulation from all around us. And overall, you will just get less stress in your life, and you will reduce the stress within your kids. Now, teenagers, we talked about toddlers, we talked about babies. Let me just see if I see something. I don't think so. We just don't put things away. Kyla, what did you mean by that? Does your approach change if our kids have ADHD, anxiety? The approach is not different. You can adjust and accumulate all the tools that I will teach you in a little bit later, and you can adjust it to your kid. Actually, kids with, again, different challenges, behavior challenges, social challenges, learning and academic challenges can really benefit from learning those skills. Now, you can teach each kid age adjusted and personality adjusted and challenge adjusted. But yeah, all those tools apply to all kids. Again, a bit adjusted. So teenagers, do we have parents of teenagers here today? Any teenagers? I will give you like a couple of words about teenagers because, 15, yeah, Yolanda. So remember yourself as a teenager. Teenagers have very complicated lives because they're changing. They have physical changes, hormonal changes. They have a lot on their minds. They have a lot in their life. When clutter and chaos, physical chaos, is added to all that and their space is not organized, then it doesn't leave room for them to deal with their life. It overwhelms them even more. So we need to teach teenagers, and it's not too late, because even you, parents, adults, can learn new skills. We can teach teenagers how to create a more calm environment for themselves, a more organized space for themselves, so they can unwind, so they can focus, so they can deal with their life. Okay? So how do we do this? What can we actually teach our kids, and how do we teach our kids how to organize? I'm going to give you 10 main tools that you can use with your kids. Again, kid adjusted, family adjusted, your personal situation adjusted. But just keep those tools in mind. And if you have a pen maybe or a piece of paper, you can write them down so you will have them for reference for later. So those are 10 simple and effective tools. And I promise you that it will keep your house and your home organized for the long run. Okay, not just running after our own tail and, being trapped in the vicious circle of putting things away all the time. So let's start with the first one. The first one and the basic one is decluttering. Okay, the less things we have, the less things we have to organize and to deal with. And let's play a little game here, okay? Now I need your collaboration here. I need your response. Let's play a guessing game. How many items, how many things do you think that an average home contains? How many things are there in an average home? You can just put your answers. It could be tens, it could be 200, it could be 1,000. I see here 20,000 and 2,000 and 3,000 and 5,000 and 2,000 and over 100 and 3,000. Well, guys, you are very optimistic because let me tell you the answer. An average home contains over 300,000 items. Can you hear that? Can you even imagine 300,000 of items? And this is an average home. And I've seen homes that contain more than that over the years of my practice. Think about your home. Think about your friend's home. Think about your family's home. Think about your garages. Think about your playrooms. Think about that. Okay? Now, another question. Let's keep playing. Another question is, how many toys do you think an average 11-year-old owns? Toys, games, everything related to playtime. 200. Too many. Yeah, definitely, Miranda. Keep guessing. Over 1,000. Whoa, that's a lot, Christina. Any more guesses? Okay, so the answer is 460. Okay? 460 toys and games per one average kid. Now, Legos, no, I'm not talking about, different Lego pieces, Legos in general. So now think and write down how many of those toys and games are being played by that average kid on a regular basis. 10, 100. 100 out of 460. That's a lot, Cami. 5%, 10 only, and 120. Well, yes, 10 to 12 toys in average for an 11 average kid, for an 11-year-old average kid. So it depends on the age. So for example, for an average 2-year-old, it would be about 2 toys that are being played on a regular basis. For a 10-year-old, it's going to be about 10 toys or games that are being played on a regular basis, and so on. So out of 460 games and toys, our kids are actually playing with quite a few. Do they need all those games and toys? You tell me. And maybe keep it in mind when you're going shopping next time, or when you're making your Christmas shopping list. Okay, so we need to remember that things actually should serve us and not taking over our lives. And keep that in mind when you go through your house and you look at things, and you need to decide what things you really like, what things you really want, what things bring you joy, and what things are not as necessary in your home anymore. The second tool is breaking the task down into small actions. Let's see, Miranda, do the things every year before Christmas. I make my son pick all the toys and have not been, oh, why can I see the end of the sentence? Played with in 6 months. And oh, that's amazing, Miranda. This is actually great because a lot of people ask me how to teach your kid to declutter, how to teach your kid to make decisions, how can the kid decide what stays and what goes? Kids are actually really smart. And if we give them a chance, they can actually do a pretty good job with that. So that's a great idea to do it before Christmas, and then you can just make some room for new toys and games. So break down the big task, into smaller items, into smaller action items, and be clear and specific. What does that mean? Imagine yourself standing in front of your kid in his room and telling what you tell him or her on a daily basis. Clean up your room. Do you say that on a daily basis? Give me a thumbs up if you do. If you do say it on a daily basis. Yes, Yolanda. So if you do, I cannot read all the comments at once, so maybe I can read them later after I finish presenting all the tools. So when you stand in your kid's room and you tell them to clean up their room, does that happen? What happens when you tell them that? Do they clean their room? Because usually what my clients report is that either nothing happens or something completely different from what you had in mind happens. So what should we do? Let me explain how kids' brain works. It works differently from ours. So when you tell the kids to clean up their room, it's like, imagine me giving you a huge bowl full of different kinds of beans, different kinds of grains, different colors of rice. You get the point, right? And then I tell you, can you please cook only white rice for me without even giving you any cooking directions? How would you feel? Would you be able to do that? Probably not. You would feel overwhelmed, Kyla, yes. And you will feel confused, frustrated, maybe even mad at me, right? Do your kids get mad at you when you tell them to clean up their room? Lost, Christina, right? And then if you're polite enough and you will spare me everything that you feel about me at that moment, you will just set the ball aside and you will ask me kindly to buy you a new package of white rice, right? And this is what happens with our kids. They don't know what to do with this command. And then they just ask you to buy them new toys, right? Does that happen to you? So what we should do is break it down for them into smaller pieces, okay? So if the room is chaotic with mess and with things and with stuff that is misplaced, tell them specifically what to do. For example, put your clothes in the laundry bin. Put the cars in the cars box. Put the crayons back to the drawer. Specific. For older kids, of course, you can make the tasks bigger. So you can tell them, oh, clear your desk, for example, or clear your school bag, for example, at the end of the week. Okay? But breaking it down really helps kids to formulate the order of their actions and the sense of their actions. It makes more sense to them. Okay? So the third tool is routine. Remember that I told you that the kids, they love order and they love routine and they love structure, but we need to create it for them. I mean, think about your kids at school. They do not argue with the teachers when the bell rings, right? And when they need to go to their class or when they need to go to their recess, because they have structure, because they have a routine. They know that they need to wake up in the morning and go to school. Imagine if you would surprise them every day and wake them up and tell them, oh, today is school day. And they're like, oh, why didn't you tell me yesterday? We need to prepare them. We need to make a routine for them. We need to, again, make order for them. Okay, and order and routine of organizing are just like healthy habits. As I mentioned before, it's just like brushing your teeth. We teach our kids to brush their teeth in the morning and in the evening. The same way we can teach them organizing routines. Organizing routines and thrives, yes, ADHD, absolutely. Every kid thrives on structure, especially the ADHD kids. And that's why I mentioned before that disorganized spaces can actually trigger even more behavioral, social, and learning challenges for kids. So you can do chores, for example. Of course, the chores should be simple. Again, they need to be structured and they need to be age adjusted. Okay? You can make a daily family cleanup, for example, for 15 minutes before dinner. You can put some music. You can make it a fun family quality time routine. And then before dinner, your house is going to be clear, clean, and organized. You can teach your kids and yourself to make the bed in the morning. And there's actually a very, very, very good speech of my goodness, I forgot his name. Is a Navy or a Marine Admiral? If you remember his name, write it down because I don't remember. And it's a very good speech about why is it important to make your bed in the morning. So you can make it your family routine, for example, and teach your kids how to do that. Because when you do a small task at the beginning of the day, your brain is wired on being capable to do more tasks through that day. And it wires your brain into an action point, into an action position, into feeling capable, into feeling boosted with energy for the rest of the day. So this is a very, I mean, imagine yourself just getting back home and getting into a well-made bed in the evening. Doesn't it feel nice? I mean, think about it. When you go to a hotel and your bed is made, doesn't it feel nicer than going back to your bed when the bed is not made? So make it, I really, really advise to make it your daily routine. You can do whatever works for your family. You can set priorities. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Okay, set your priorities. If your priority is to get shoes out of your way, then this should be a routine. If your priority is to get the kitchen clean by the end of the day, then this is going to be your priority. If whatever works for you, set your priorities, think about what will work for your families, for your kids, for you. And then make it simple. Again, nothing complicated, nothing overwhelming, simple tasks that can be manageable, that can be achieved. Okay? The fourth tool is actually a rule, and the rule is called the rule of fork. You heard right, fork. The thingy that you eat with. The rule of fork says that if you will stand in the middle of your house with a fork in your hand, and you will ask anyone from your family to put this fork away, then your family members would probably take the fork, go to the kitchen, open the silverware drawer, and put the fork in its place, right? The same rule has to be implemented for every item in your house. Every single item in your house has to have a home. Every single item in your house has to have its place. Because this way, you will not have to look for stuff. You will not have to buy new stuff because you cannot find the stuff that you already have and they're just misplaced. And you will know exactly where to put things away too. And your kids and other family members will know that too. So create a room, a designated home for every item in your house. The fifth tool is contain and label. What does that mean? While you're decluttering your home or any space of your house, categorize your things and then store things with like items by categories. For example, let's talk about toys, okay? So, label, I will answer that. So, for example, if you have a lot of toys in your playroom, right? It makes sense that all the cars are going to be contained in one bin, right? And all the dolls are going to be contained in one bin. And all the Legos are going to be contained in one bin. The same thing goes with all the other items. Let's take, for example, our COVID masks, right? If they're scattered all over the house, it makes mess. It's unorganized. But if you have a box, I don't know, on a counter, in your entry or in one of the drawers in the kitchen, doesn't matter where, and all the masks are contained, and everybody knows where to go and take a mask. And if there are reusable masks, everybody knows where to put their masks back when they're washed. Okay? So create a contained space for every category in your house. Why label? Because let's again take as example toys. If you have bins, if you have, let's say, a shelving unit, right? And you have bins with different kinds of toys, and you want your toddler, for example, to organize their toys, where should they put the cars? Where should they put the dolls? Where should they put the Legos? If you have labels, it could be pictures or it could be words, whatever, again, suits your kids' abilities or age. But then they will know where exactly to put stuff away. Kitchen, for example, you can organize your pantry, okay, and label the shelves with breakfast, dinner, snacks, and so on. And then everyone in the family, everyone in your home, everybody in the house will know where should they go to get what they want. Because when you organize the house or when somebody else organizes the house, not all the family members are necessarily participating in all the organizing processes. So you want them to know where things are. You want to teach them where things are. And when there are labels, not on everything, of course, it's just easier for family members to understand where things are. I don't know, entry closet, for example. You can have a bin for winter hats. You can have a bin for gloves. You can have a bin for scarves. Just an example, okay? And then everybody knows what bin should they go to take whatever they need. Rotation, that's tool number 6, okay? Rotation is a tool that you can apply on clothes, for example, in your closet, or on toys, for example. Think about clothes. We rotate our wardrobe between seasons, right? We have winter seasonal items and we have summer seasonal items. And we rotate them as we need them. We don't need ski, for example, gear in the summer, or usually we don't need flip-flops and swimsuits during the winter. Depends on where you live, of course. Same goes with toys. So you can rotate, if you have a lot of toys and you want them all, you decluttered, you went through them all, you sorted them out, but still, there's a lot. I do recommend to put some of the toys away, out of reach, out of sight of your kids. You should know where you put them. And then put some of them out there for your kids to play. Why? Because too many toys are overwhelming for your kids. Every time they want to play with something, they need to make a huge choice because there's a big variety of stuff to choose from. Limited variety of stuff to choose from makes decisions easier, right? So if you will leave just a smaller amount of toys accessible and usable and playable, then your kids will probably, most probably, play with their toys more because they have smaller amount to choose from. They see what they have. It's not overwhelming for them. And then you can actually monitor and see which toys and which games do they actually play with. Because even if they have a smaller amount, you can see that there are certain toys and certain games that they don't want to play with anyway, right? And then you can actually see that maybe those toys and games are no longer loved or wanted or age, appropriate for your kids. Maybe they're baby toys. Maybe, they don't have any interest in those toys anymore, right? So you can actually have a clue what your kids are playing with and what they're not. And then every time that you take a new toy from your rotation storage, your kids are more interested. Your kids are excited. It's like a new toy. So next time when they want a new toy, you can actually go and shop in your storage instead of the store. Clear surfaces. This is rule number 7. So you want to keep your surfaces as clear as possible. I'm talking about counters, I'm talking about desks, I'm talking about tables, I'm talking about floors. When you clear your surfaces, then it immediately creates a visual effect of organized house, of spacious rooms and space, of brighter light in your house. Just try it. Take as many things off of your surfaces as possible and make it a daily routine to make your surfaces as clear as possible every single night. So you will wake up in the morning to an organized and spacious and bright house that make you actually feel nice and energized for the start of the day. The 8th tool is to stay positive and be patient. Okay? We're teaching our kids a new tool. We're teaching our kids a new skill. It takes time. It takes time for them to understand. It takes time for the brain to actually make connections and to make it a habit and to make it reasonable. So be patient and be positive and be consistent and try to make it as fun as possible. Because think about it, it's much easier to learn something when it's fun, right? When it's interesting, when everybody's participating, okay? So do it with them, put some music, do, I don't know, competitions, do quests. Again, do whatever works for you and your kids, okay? The 9th tool is to set timers. Why set timers? Because time-framed tasks are easier to manage. I mean, think about yourself. When you know when your work day is over, then it's easier to go through the day. Imagine yourself not knowing when your work day is going to be over. It would be a little bit overwhelming, right? So the same goes with kids. 15 minutes time frames are usually recommended for kids under the age of 12. Even above the age of 12, and think about yourself, it's better to stay within the 15 or up to 30 minutes frame for doing any task. For example, if you want to declutter your closet, if you want the kids to do whatever you want them to do, set a timer up to 15 minutes. If your kids are teenagers, you can make it up to 30 minutes, but not more than that, because otherwise it's just not going to be manageable. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be frustrating and stressful, and it's not going to achieve the goal that we want to achieve. Now, you can set timers, regular timers, phone timers. There is a great tool that is called Time Timer. You can search it on Amazon, and it's a great visual tool for kids, because when you set the timer, there is a red area on the timer, and then as time goes, it just reduces the red area of the timer, and then the kids can actually see the time, because they have no sense of time. They don't understand what 15 minutes is, and suddenly the timer rings and they're like, oh, I didn't know that the time is over. So those visual time timers, it's called Time Timer, those are great, even for you. I mean, I use it when I need to do something that is time framed, and it's really great. Then you can actually see the time. For smaller kids, you can even use some music timer. I do not recommend to sing the cleanup song, because it's endless. You can sing it endlessly. But a song, for example, that has a beginning and an end, like, I don't know, let's say Baby Shark song, okay? It has a beginning. The kids know at what point the song will end. And this is also a good option for a timer for smaller kids. And the last tool, before I approach your questions that I might have missed, the last tool, the 10th one, is the most important one. The last one is lead by example. And that means that the kids will not do whatever you tell them to do. They will do whatever they see you doing. So don't practice double standards. Don't expect your kids to do something that you don't do. Okay? For example, sort your mail as it arrives. Organize your spaces, your bedrooms, your bathrooms, your kitchen space, whatever your spaces are, your office. Teach the kids by example. Deal with laundry on time. And they will follow. Lead them, and they will follow. So, that was a brief conversation about organizing with kids. And I hope that the tools that I gave you are going to be useful for you. I can tell you, and I can promise, and I can assure you that all of them are proven, and all of them are really effective. You can adjust them to your family, to your kids, to your house routine, to your house habits. But don't be afraid to change your routine, to change your habits. And another thing that I want to tell you is lower your expectations, at least at first, okay? Because when we teach somebody something, we cannot expect them to do it perfectly from the beginning, right? So be patient, lower your expectations. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be Pinterest looking. It doesn't have to be Instagram looking. It has to work for you and your family. It has to reduce the stress in your home, the stress in your bodies, and make your family spend more quality time, each one with themselves and everyone together. And you can create that in your home. You can create that order, and you can create those habits in your home. So I don't know if I have missed any questions. So very encouraging. Thank you, Christina. How to teach the kids to let go of things? Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, and we were discussing it a little bit earlier. So decision making is a very, very, very important life skill. Will you share the list? You know what? That's a great idea. I can put the list. I will make a post about it on my Instagram page, and you can follow me. It's Tidy Our Home, and that's a really good idea, Yolanda. Yes, I will make the list, and you can follow me on Instagram, and I will make it happen by the next week. So, how to teach your kids to declutter? Decluttering is actually decision making, and you can make it easier for them. Again, it depends on the age of the kid. So for younger kids, I would recommend to pre-declutter for them the main part of their, let's take toys as an example, okay, because it's always an easy one and everybody can relate. So pre-declutter it for them, but then leave a small amount of items for them to go through and to declutter themselves. Now, be smart. Put items that you actually know that they really love and they will keep. And then put items that are broken, really unusable, broken, completely broken, that obviously they will not want to keep, right? And then put some items that you are not sure about and they might be not sure about, and then have a conversation. Because as as in every other aspect of life, when you have to learn how to make decisions, some decisions are easy and some are harder. So this is your chance and this is your opportunity to actually start small and teach them to start small and make those decisions. And maybe they will keep stuff that you don't want them to keep, but they will feel empowered because this is their decision. Right? Do you agree? Does it answer the question? Do you have any suggestions for that? I'm still playing with it argument at the end of the day. My siblings, I never want to destroy their Kendall. This is a great question because a lot of my clients have this problem with Legos, for example, Lego models that they build, and then there's a whole museum of Lego structures that need to be stored somewhere or displayed somewhere. This is their creation, and it's okay. But they need to make, again, decisions about, they need to take into consideration the amount of space, just as us, right? We cannot contain in our house more items that we can, because otherwise it would be hoarding, right? So we need to teach our kids to realize how much space they actually have. And then show them that their, for example, Lego creations cannot fit in the space that you actually have for them. Let them brainstorm. Let them find solutions. And if they don't find solutions, then you can suggest to make a decision. Which ones do they want to keep and which ones are less meaningful for them? Which ones are great and which ones are meh? Again, it's a decision-making skill, and it's really important to teach that to the kids. And then you can display those creations of them. It could be Legos, it could be their artwork, it could be anything. You can display a couple, and you can set a limit. And you can say, okay, we will display 5, 3, 2, 10, whatever you decide. And then the rest should either be disassembled or any other decision that you can come up with together with your kids. But they need to be a part of the solution. They need to brainstorm. They need to understand why they cannot keep it all. You're welcome. Any other questions? We still have 10 minutes.
So, Darina, first of all, thank you for this session. It was great and very helpful. I want to spot Miranda with a question. She's concerned about her kid going back to school soon with the last year of COVID-19 and other challenges. and she thinks he's lost his order in some way in his routine, and she wants to know how to get to bring him back to his routine before coming back to school. So before I let you answer it, just to tell Miranda that, first of all, thank you for this question. I think it's an issue that we're all dealing with right now. So maybe it's a good content to bring to ParentGood as soon as possible. So I'll try and arrange that. And Darina, thank you. You can answer.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a great question. I remember myself when COVID hit March 2020, and we were told that the kids will not go to school anymore. The first thing that I knew that I have to do for my kids is to create a schedule, to create a structure, to create a routine. So what I suggest parents to do before the school year starts is to start creating a schedule. It could be dry erase board, it could be a chalkboard, it could be paper that you will put in a visible place for your kids, a magnetic board, whatever works for your kids. You could set timers and you can write down a schedule. You can start the schedule a little bit earlier because kids tend to wake up a little bit later during the summer break. So try to start scheduling the activities that you want to schedule a little bit earlier so that the kid will easily get eventually to the wake up time that he has to wake up during the school year. And then try to think. It doesn't have to be something educational or whatever, but try to think about activities that you can actually put in that schedule. For example, it could be breakfast making. It could be, you can even write down really small action items for younger kids: brushing your teeth, making your bed, getting dressed, and so on, and make a checklist and make them check those things out or write them down or whatever works for them. So breakfast making or breakfast time, and then you can schedule some playtime, but it should be time framed, right? And you can schedule some reading time. Either you read to them or they read by themselves. You can schedule some play outside, but as long as those activities are scheduled and as long as they're time framed, it actually rewires the kids' brains into a routine. It doesn't have to be similar to the school routine. It just has to be some kind of routine so that they will get used to it gradually and not, overwhelmingly just transform from total summer break chaos to strict school routines. So I hope that answers your question. And you can make the schedule by the time that school ends, for example, and then you can, just allow some free time, alone time, play date time, whatever you want to do. So it doesn't have to be a whole day schedule. Oh, what do I do with kids' creations? Do I keep them? Well, I suggest to keep some because those little creations and moments are precious, but not all of them. I suggest to have a box for each kid during the school year or summer break, during a calendar year, whatever you decide, and just put the stuff that you want to keep in that box. Again, be selective. Don't put everything, right? So before you put something, think, well, what do you really want to put? What do you really like? Not every scribble, scrabble, or not every, for example, my kid, he loves to draw dragons. He draws 100 dragons a day. I choose the good ones. I let him choose the ones that he really likes. And then I recite the rest, right? So everything that you really want to keep goes in that box. At the end of the year, I recommend to go through that box because not everything that you thought is amazing during the year, you will think the same about that item by the end of the year. So it will allow you to reduce the amount of things that you thought that you want to keep. And then you can either keep them as is if they're really special. You can take photos. Again, I suggest a box because we don't have the time during the year all the time, to take photos, to upload them on, digitally and stuff. If you do have the time during the year to do that, do that. Do not keep, actual items. So then you can take a photo, you can upload them, you can save them digitally, you can make an album, a digital album for the kids, to print out their creations in like a photo book for them so they can have in the room, and then it's really nice. I did that for my kids when they were younger, when they were creating more things. And it's really fun for them to actually go through that album. It could be digital, printed album. It could be, you can just, put stuff in regular photo album, whatever works for you. But it's actually really nice for them to go through that and to see, their creations from when they were younger. But again, be mindful, and just like with all the other stuff that you decide what to keep and what not to keep, be mindful about those things that really, is it really meaningful to me or is it not? You don't need to keep things out of guilt or, out of fear that people see, or, oh, I'm a bad mom, I'm throwing away their creations. No, keep things only out of joy, love, whatever you're really excited about. I don't know. Do we have another question? Miranda, but if we don't, they're the same children in the school. My biggest worry, I don't know what's going to be in school and what I will need or what needs to for me, because COVID did change everything. It was a huge world game changer, and yeah, we need to adjust and accommodate ourselves to the new reality. But it will be okay, Miranda. As any new school year is overwhelming, but it's also exciting. And as I said before, really creating a schedule, any kind of schedule, but setting a routine for the kids a couple of weeks before school starts really get them into a more structured way of managing themselves during the day. And it makes it easier to start a school year for sure.
Darina, thank you for being here today. That was great. Thank you for all of you to being here for today, and you're more than welcome to follow Darina at Instagram, Tidy Our Home. I just put the link in the comments, and thank you, Darina.
Thank you.
We'll follow you, and we can also put a nice summary of these things in our Facebook group. So we'll all have that handy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will create something. I will create a list and I will definitely share. And yeah, if you need inspiration, if you have questions, you are absolutely free to follow me, to ask me questions, to get more tools. I'm trying to share my projects as much as I can when I have the time. So you can get some inspiration there, and I share a lot of tips and useful information there. So it might be helpful for you for the long run. And thank you for being here, for your interest, for reacting to my questions. And I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. And thank you, Hadar, for inviting me here and share my knowledge and my passion.
Thank you.
All right, okay, everybody.
So, have a great rest of your day, everyone. And thank you, Darina.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.